Right.
When you cannot discern who the predator is, you're going to assume that everyone could be the predator to keep yourself safe.
Is being safe walking down the street with no clothes on at night, drunk as fuck, with no ride home but an Uber, and all you're with is a bunch of drunk ass girls? Is that the type of safe that you're talking about?
Subscribe to this channel. In case you are watching this channel and have not subscribed.
Men are horrible.
I mean, the next person who does that is gonna get stabbed.
The species cannot survive with a shortage of women.
I need to watch stupid feminist TikToks like a fish needs a bicycle, but here we are. I'm doing it for you so that I can understand the best arguments made by the feminist ladies.
And none of them are good.
I can respond to them, I can interpret them so that you don't need to on your own.
Thank you.
Take it away.
The species...
If any of y'all ever got any clips or anything that you want to send to me to react to, I'd appreciate that. It would help me with my content. And if you just go down in the description, you can join my Discord or add me on Snapchat or whatever, and just send me whatever you want me to react to. And once I get enough shit piled up, I'll react to all of it.
The species can survive with one man.
Yeah.
The species cannot survive with a shortage of women. Food for thought, gentlemen.
Probably could.
Is this flirting?
Bro,
I think this is flirting for feminists. Saying, you know.
Oh my God, I don't think I've ever felt so disgusted in my life. That was oh my God, that was terrifying.
Species can survive with one man. How's that sound to you, buddy? You know, you get all of us. It's like, oh, thanks. Well, I'm good.
Hard pass.
You know, I'm married, so it's okay. Thank you, though. But we can't survive with a shortage of women. Well, of course you couldn't survive with a shortage of women. Couldn't survive with no women, but the species could survive with a shortage. Shortages of women sometimes in different places. And I don't think I'd want to be that one man.
Men are horrible. Okay? I mean, I have to just tell it to you like it is, honey, but all men are awful. Really. And the key is to just find a man who's the least horrible.
For
was that a voiceover or was that her voice?
Culture, that is probably a fair conclusion to have drawn.
Right.
And it's not even the guy's fault. It's really the culture's fault and the fault of people who make their own bad decisions, and in part the guy's fault as well. Because think about what a great deal, or maybe even most women's experience of men is in their lives. They grow up in an age where divorce is common, where out-of-wedlock birth is common, where families break down, and a lot of people don't have a father figure in their lives. So right off the bat, pretty skeptical of men. Then they're put into schools, and they're told that men and women are exactly the same, and so all sense of chivalry and gentlemanliness totally goes out the window. Now women have their trophies taken away and their scholarships taken away by some men. That's how far the ideology has gotten. Then at some point in high school or college maybe, they enter into what is our modern dating scene, which is the hookup culture. And the hookup culture is also predicated on the feminist idea that men and women are exactly the same, and they react to sex in exactly the same way.
Right.
But that's obviously not true. Men and women have different stakes in sex, and we have different bodies, and we have different hormones, and we have different desires, and we're different as individuals, body and soul. So what happens? The men get their jollies and the women feel used, and the women are being used for sex. The women, after a certain period of time, they become less sexually desirable, and so after having a slew of men just use them up for their own selfish satisfaction, they then just kind of cast them aside. And then what do the women do? The women are single. They have a harder time getting married if they do want to get married. And they've been told that they have to go work outside the home. They should put off getting married. They should put off having kids. They should put off the things that naturally are considered to be fulfilling to women. And for the women who don't want to get married, they're left working in the widget factory for Mr. McGillicuddy, making some paltry wage. They're still working for a man who doesn't love them, who would throw them out the moment that they're no longer really useful, just like all the men that they thought liked them back in their teens and 20s. So I get it. I get why they think men are...
That was really poetic.
Awful. But it's not the men. It's the culture and the idea and the fact that the women are acceding to this culture that is ultimately going to harm them greatly.
The time that we live in is just insane, man. Like, every single thing that he just named seems so normal, but whenever you like actually sit back and you think about it, it is just fucked, man. It's so fucked. We live in the most privileged time, and yet we live in the worst, not the worst, but the worst time. Whenever it comes to all the benefits and shit that we have, it's like, yeah, this is all luxurious, you know, like this is God's gift. But whenever you think about all the fucking mental struggles that we had to go through, all the mind tricks that we have to fight and figure out with, and like all the fucking emotional shit that we have to deal with as people, it's just so much. And it's kind of, it sounds weak to say, because like, bro, our grandfathers were just running off a fucking boat to certain death on the beaches of Normandy, like knowing that they're gonna die, knowing that they're gonna leave their family, knowing that they'll have nothing, and they still had to go do that. So that time obviously way worse, but we're like so damn coddled now that this time fucking blows, man. I mean, we're about back to the place where we're fighting wars and shit. I think so, but I don't know, man. I like just the time that we live in seems amazing, but whenever you sit back and think about it, it's garbage. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like we lost focus on our interests. Like how do you even do that? Like we de-evolved. Like we have lost touch with what the fuck we have done naturally as a species for centuries, and just now out of nowhere we're just acting like it's all brand new to us. Like there's there might be more than one gender, or there might be more than two genders. Being obese and unhealthy is good for you. Yeah, if you want to cut your limb off and fucking sew something else on, go ahead and do it. Oh, you don't want a family, just be alone for the rest of your life. You don't need to focus on your next generation. Just focus on yourself. Nobody else matters other than you. Like it's just such a selfish, delusional time that we live in.
I'm going to say what women have been saying over and over for generations.
Right.
When you cannot discern who the predator is, you're going to assume that everyone could be the predator to keep yourself safe. There's countless analogies about this with sharks and snakes and lots of other things that bite.
Is being safe walking down the street with no clothes on at night, drunk as fuck, with no ride home but an Uber, and all you're with is a bunch of drunk ass girls? Is that the type of safe that you're talking about? Is that the security that you're working for? Because if so, bravo. So proud of you women. So smart. And then women are fed bullshit like this. Like women can really just fucking like take on 5-minute ones just on a hand-to-hand combat. Like, no, that's the corniest thing to me in movies. I mean, like, yeah, some women might be trained to where they could do that to some untrained men, but when we're talking about the majority, no, definitely not. And you're just telling women that they can. Like, no, y'all better keep that mace on you, or a strap or something.
Now I'm going to offer the men on here some advice. Number one, if you're following me, means you're probably not one of the worst.
No
Means you're
person
probably
over
single.
the age of 18 should ever put ketchup on a hot dog.
Triggered by conversations about straight men being problematic, then you might actually be one of the problems.
Okay, thanks so much, pal.
Probably.
So this guy is...
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of am a problem. Whenever I was younger and in high school, I was a fuck boy. I definitely ruined a lot of women's minds. So I will admit to that. But with that said, they gotta take some accountability and own up to that they let me. Like, it wasn't like I fucking had to lie or anything. I was straight up about every single time.
the flip side to feminists. He obviously doesn't share one of the defining features of feminists, which is a hatred of men. Somebody tells me this guy doesn't hate men.
He's gay! He's gay! He's gay!
He shares a deeper defining
That's like the second one that took me longer to get.
feature of the feminists, which is the view that the sexes are not complementary. The old view is that men and women need each other. There will never be a war between the sexes because everybody's sleeping with the enemy. There is a telos to our bodies, which is to join together in holy matrimony, and then in this unique, very particular union,
Sex. You mean sex.
the love is so real that it actually becomes another person, and you create a child. And for the feminists, they hate the men, so they say, no, men and women are exactly the same and there's no distinction between us, or we just don't want anything to do with men entirely and we're going to become lesbians or something.
They only say that they're exactly the same unless they're talking about pregnancy, and then they try to hold that over your head. Well, you'll never have to carry a baby. You don't know what it's like to have to go through 9 months of labor or periods or whatever. Like, yeah, we're not the same. So I don't understand why y'all think we are in other aspects like strength or height or fucking, anything, speed, fucking sports, work, anything.
Escalated quickly.
And for this guy, he's essentially saying the same thing. He's saying, yeah, men and women don't really need each other. They're more inclined to view the opposite sex as a predator. And there are all sorts of predators in the world, but the defining relationship between the sexes is not one of predation, but one of love, which is kind of funny for a group of people that always says, love wins, love, 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 love. They don't seem to know anything about what love actually means.
It's really funny the way that we expect girls to just kind of like ignore catcalling, but the second she answers back, she's like being a bit too much. Like if a guy screams something at me, but then I scream something back, people are like, dude, you just need to let it go. You need to calm down. That is just so funny to me. And by funny, I mean the next person who does that is gonna get stabbed.
Crazy, 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 crazy.
I was kind of on her side or his side or they, Z, burp, whatever the fuck that was side. But I don't think there's that many men catcalling her. But then she went too far to like, I'm gonna stab you. Like, such a fucking weird thing that women can get away with, being crazy. Women really think nowadays it's cool to be crazy. They think it's cool to be psychotic, which, whatever, man. It's easier to determine which ones to stay away from.
I know catcalling is a trope. And a lot of women flatter themselves and say that they walk by construction sites and the men are whistling at them or something, like they're in a 1920s cartoon or something like that.
Nice keister.
Will y'all explain to me what a trope is? I saw that word the other day and I tried to find the definition of it, but I still couldn't understand what the fuck it was talking about.
Color me a touch skeptical. Some of these gals seem a little fantastical in a lot of their ideology and their narratives, and I just don't totally buy it.
Wow. Right? You know, I caught a little glimpse of her foot nut. You saw ankle bone?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna sit here and say like catcalling is okay, because it's not. I think catcalling is lame as fuck. Well, it depends. If you're just shooting your shot and you're just like, hey, what's up? Like you're cute or something, you know, like something like that. But if you're talking like, hey, little mama, come put that pussy on my face, that's whenever it's like, all right, dog, like you're doing too much. And I know it's mainly in New York and stuff, which is like their culture, but it's still weird as fuck to me, man. I know there's a lot of people that stand up for it. I just don't see why. Like I said, if you're just shooting your shot like a normal, respectable person, that's whatever. But if you get like sexual with it, that's whenever it's just like, all right, dog, that's cringe as fuck. But anyways, that's the end of that video. Please leave a like if you guys got anything to say about the video. Let me know down below. You know I read every single comment. And if you fuck with your boy, would you please give me a subscription? With that said, deuces.
You acting like them bitches, it all makes sense to me. Why you jealous of your friends trying to get with me? No sympathy, while I'm on this Tennessee. Kinda got a nigga feeling you my enemy. I ain't deleting that picture that you sent to me. It's clear to see that you ain't me and meant to be. And mentally, I deleted every feeling